3v3s because they have the hands force for Team Heretics. Maybe answer that as well with aggression from Jack. Trevor's mocking me on the caster desk. We cast the signs now. As I was saying as well, I think Team Heretics has looked their best when Jankos has been something that could lead to the carry potential. We've seen the Wukong. I want to see the follow-up as well. We've seen Mercer at his best when he's been playing the playmakers. And, well, Vitality, they read my mind. Jack, Spectre, and Draving to answer the 3v3 down towards the bot side would have been pivotal, but Team Vitality's already shut it down.
I really want to see Mercer on one of those engaged supports. We've talked about it off air. You mentioned it just before we got into draft. And I think the Wukong specifically, for Jankos this spring, 4 games on the Monkey King, then 1 on Elise, Jarvan, and Vi. The only champion on the Wukong he's picked up a win for is that Vi. Getting the famous Ebby thumbs up. I think Ebby today is going to have a difficult time. He has been beaten and bullied across many of Spring's games, and Photon is one of the shining stars, one of the gold scene setters here and for European top laners.
Yeah, I wonder what the last ban's going to be here for Heretics. We still have Sai up, we still have Gragas up for the triple flex. No matter what, you will get a strong champion coming out of it as well. Not potentially looking at Bo for the Sejuani specifically, but we have seen Vitality say, you know what, we want to play the Lucian Nami, we want to play the Seri, but they're actually just banning away the Jace, and that leaves open a lot of options for Vitality.
I mean, Jace has jumped up in priority this weekend significantly. It'll be the last weekend we do play 13-4s into groups, it will move on. But it will be the Zeri now locked in for upset. The second time he has played that champion this spring, did not pick up a win when he did play it last time. And the only member of Heretics that has played that Gragas has been Ebby in the top lane. So if it is prioritized, that is where I would be expecting it.
Yeah, what we saw earlier from Mad Lions was that they wanted to get that Sire into the Seri, and we could see some hyper aggression as well down from Jack as well. It's not going to be the Sire with the setup herself with the feathers. It is going to be a hyper carry though that can respond with the damage in the later stages of the game in a Jinx.
Now this is the first time that Jack Spectre has run the Jinx all year, right? All year long. But when I do look down his list, of the 120 games he's played, 9 of them on the champion, 7 of those are victories. So something he's had success with in the past. Jankos will be running the Sejuani, not necessarily the carry that we were looking at, but I do like the power it has in terms of setup, team fighting, hell, even early game skirmishing for Team Heretics.
Yeah, so now I think just a great Gragas here would come in as a flex. They're not actually going to do that at all whatsoever. They're going to look for the Wukong. Perks though with the hover. Problem is, you log in the Gragas now, you're going to have to go through the second ban phase. Can almost be certain that a lot of the enchanters are going to be taken away, but it could also be very important for Kai'Sa to get a good matchup. Wouldn't be the first time we've seen an engaged support with a Seri, but no, they are going to respect the fact that Lulu might get taken off the board, and they're going to pick it right now.
So no surprises in that regard. I also do appreciate that Wukong lock-in here. Obviously, you're expecting a support champion for Mercer. And then we go to the solo lanes. This has been the preferred sort of draft strategy throughout most of the year. Jungle and duo lanes. And if Mercer gets that Nautilus, that was one of the singles that we were hoping to see.
Yeah, this is something that can contest the bot lane. This is something where Nautilus lands the hook, he gets the root down on his auto attack, you start layering up the Sejuani stun passive as well that way, and you just look for the kill. You need to play towards this Jinx here, you want to get her ahead, you want to play around her already, so now the rest of Team Heretics' composition has to mimic that as well.
So listen, we've seen these combination of champions a plethora of times this year. The solo laners are going to completely define what direction these drafts go, and when I look at the likes of Photon and Perks versus Ebby and Ruby, it is a challenge. I think individually it's fair to say that Vitality's players are expected to do better. I also think I've seen a more varied approach to games this year from Perks with also a wider variety of success. You don't really know what he's going to dip into. So the challenge here is on Heretics. What do they lock in blind? One would assume maybe something for Ebby in the top lane and leave counter pick for Ruby. That would be my guess.
Yeah, I think that's a decent guess as well. Silas could be nice to have in the mid lane as well, depending on what kind of ultimates presents themselves on the enemy team, but you know, really have the best ultimate for it right now. Ebby could just look for a Malphite, could just look for a Sion, would give the counter pick over to Photon, but in the end, you just want the frontliner for your AD carry as well. He is going to be the hyper carry, and you should be able to round that up with a player like Ruby in the backline. But vice versa, could just look for a CF4, could just be that control mage you're looking for, and try to give Ebby an easier matchup. They're actually going to ban the Asir themselves, which tells me they're not looking for mid lane on 4.
Well, then what are they going to lock in then for that Ebby in the top lane, leaning a little bit more towards that kind of expected strategy. I think something I always read into is how much time the teams use in terms of these respective phases. Phase 1 went fairly quick. They kind of knew what they wanted to pick, they knew what they wanted to ban. Phase 2 slowed down. Cassante, Cassiopeia, Gragas, and Azir, the final, removed from the pool. Ebby's run the Gwen, the Sion, the Tryndamere. The Sion is open, the Gwen is open. What does he feel is going to be frontline worthy? If you do go Sion, you do need a lot more damage from that mid lane if it's going to be backed up by Jinx. Instead, we'll be leaning towards the Jax for the first time this spring.
Yeah, so you don't have to play into the Gragas, but there's still other varieties that you can play into. Right now, they're super AD heavy with a lot of their damage. If a Malphite were to come through, it'd be a great frontline, a great engage. We've seen it be very meta so far for the LEC top laners. With the Cassiopeia ban as well, and Malphite being picked up here, you could see it be paired up with a mid laner like the likes of Sylas, just so that ultimate doesn't get taken away from the side of Ruby. So super fifth pick with a Sylas here wouldn't surprise me.
Now, whenever I see a champion like Malphite and a player like Photon, I get sad because I think Photon's abilities kind of gets hampered by the limits of the champion. As far as I can see, I believe this is Photon's first ever Malphite. I get the stats team to confirm that. And the Sylas was locked in, but it was for perks. And he's got a number of ultimates already that are going to be extremely valuable to hijack away.
Yeah, so what we're looking at from the side of Ruby, he's usually preferred the control mages. Finally had an outlier in that trajectory by picking up the Ahri not too long ago, an old comfort of his. This time around, though, actually going to be the LeBlanc, and that means you could potentially be looking for some 2v2 action in the early game. Very good kill setup with the chains, and these are the carries that you have right now on Team Heretics.
They've got the damage, they've got the ability to play 2v2. Our stats team has just confirmed first ever Malphite for Photon as a player, and I think it is a response. It is something that's signaling how the scrim meta has developed, how they approach the competition. So we talked a little bit about the 2v2, the mid lane there for Heretics. What do you want to see from Vitality?
Yeah, I think for Vitality, they need level 6 before they start becoming a real threat. And for Team Heretics, I think it's really crucial that for the first clear on Jankers, he gets something to happen, either in the top side or down in the bot side, most preferably in that bot side to get a lead.
Find out whether they can find those opportunities for themselves. Kaiser on your screen right now. We'll be playing that Lulu, flanked by Upsets. Zeri into the Jinx Nautilus. Let's see whether or not Jack Spectre and Mercer can find some sort of 2v2 threat. Whether they want to play aggressive, because if Jankos is spending some time working alongside Ruby in the middle lane, could open up opportunities. So a reminder, Team Vitality are already locked into the group stage. And if Team Vitality win this game, the only way Heretics advance is through a tiebreaker scenario, meaning they are hoping some other results go their way. For Heretics, on the other hand, the chances for a tiebreaker goes up with a win. But they do not lock themselves in because of the fact 2 wins and 5 losses. Let's find out what happens if we hit the rift. We didn't just suddenly stop speaking, just giving the Golden Hornets a moment to sing. I tell you what, I have the utmost respect for every single member of OTP and the French broadcast crew, because my word, these 10 folks are loud. I can't imagine a stadium and a venue full of this volume. It is something beautiful to behold.
Well, you'll get to experience it later this year when we have our season finals, Trevor. So you don't have to wait too long.
So well done, heading to Montpellier for the season playoffs. We know G2 already one step closer. They've made a guarantee appearance in at least the postseason to make their way forward. Vitality wants to get there, and for Heretics, it looks a long way away. They're 2-5 in this game, and when you look at the setup, there's a slightly defensive approach on the top, but both Jankos and Bo starting on the top half of the map respectively.
Also, very defensive approach down towards that bottom side. Upset opting into bone plating as well. We've seen a lot of resolve trees come through for a lot of AD carries.
Sylas going for the Abscond Abduct.
Ebby's
a bunch of damage, and Ebby's going to leap forwards. 200 hit points, 100 hit points, and Perks literally just walks away. But he will need to stop burning through some of those consumables, and has to play a little bit more careful. That is a gigantic HP disadvantage, and GB, you said to me during the draft that Nikos could play around him, so this is an opportunity for Heretics to punish.
Just look at the minion wave as well. 3 casters into 2. Perks will inevitably have the push here. He's going to need someone to crash that wave so he can get back, or just take that recall and TP early as well. To get back to my point, down towards the bottom side as well, Upset went for that bone plating. Kai'Sa went for that Guardian because they know the kind of pressure that they're going to be under in the early game as well. Now, it has become more normal for AD carries to take the Resolve ever since the Block Further and Overheal changes came through. But either way, they're still looking to maximize the defenses in the early game.
I think as well, when you consider the likes of Jax or LeBlanc jumping onto them as well, later stages, that's a number of champions that want to go forward. We already know how this duo is playing. Look, Mercer, level 2. He's got himself control of that bush area, looking for a dredge line as these minions will be cleared out. And please keep your eyes on the minimap. Jankos making his way down south. Bo is currently on the red buff, so Jankos, for the first opportunity, may want to jump in, spotted on the ward immediately.
Yeah, ideal targeted Kai'Sa. Opposite has cleanse. Hard to lock him down, but being spotted on an early ward here is also good presence of mind, of vitality.
Ooh, dredge line just flying wide. Lucky it didn't tag onto the wall. The chains will connect there onto Perkz, down to 100. Ruby's chasing forward, forces the flash. Perkz survives with less than 50 HP. Kai'Sa gets jumped on, heal already used. No summoners used by Heretics, but at least one secured in that bottom lane, and Perkz loses the flash mid.
Yeah, but this is still big because the Vitality finally get to collect that wave here. You can't dive this early into the game. Bo also on the bottom side. So this was the early gank that Vitality needed to be aware of. This is a potential window missed for Team Heretics, but either way, it was due to good planning of Vitality, understanding what Team Heretics needed to do in the early game.
What I do like, though, is that coming into the game, we talked a little bit about how Team Heretics could approach the game. Playstyle-wise, the challenge, that being the underdogs, they've already shown a willingness and a level of coordination to try and make those positive plays. I think Perkz was bullied for going a little deep on that level 1, pre-minion wave invade. So that cost him his flash. Then on the bottom lane, while Jack Spectre and Mercer weren't able to set up that kill onto Kai'Sa, they at least got that summon heal. So it's very, very minor wins. And look, movement already. Yeah. Bo as well as Mercer making their way to the middle lane.
Let's continue that conversation because he had that bot lane priority after crashing in. Jungle in the mid lane, Mercer around as well. 3 versus 2.
Ruby's going in, chains will connect. Mercer's going to get the boop, get the bop, looking for the dredge line, holding onto it for now. Doesn't manage to pull it out, and Perkz runs away with his life. So again, nothing significant gains.
Yeah, Vitality really good at shutting down the players here in the early game. Not so much winning them, but stopping Team Heretics from getting a kill. Team Heretics still getting small advantages. Perkz no longer had that teleport, so he's going to be losing some farm, and it is going to be a small advantage going over to Ruby. From the side of Mercer, can just make his way down to the bot lane now with Jack Spectre pushing in a wave.
Looking at Mercer's going to take himself an auto attack there from Lulu. Waiting to see whether or not he wants to go forward. While that's happening now, Jankos, once again, extremely proactive. Cleared out at least the big buffs for now. Coming in to Ebby, whose wave is pushing heavily towards him. 36 to 27, he'll close that gap significantly. Bo's going to be shadowing this lane too, anticipating some form of engage. So I think this is mostly a defensive play, if I'm reading that correctly, and Ebby now is actually going to have some backup. So we could have a 2v2 here, Gulborg.
We most certainly could here. Photon still halfway till 6, but could turn on Jankos immediately. They're holding their hands.
That's the engage forward. Massive smack onto Ebby. The flail comes out. The counter-strike in the first play for Team Heretics, but Bo with a crushing blow. The permafrost holding Bo in place. Ebby escapes with his life. The flash was used. Bo's looking for more, but he can't find it. Heretics get the kill.
Everyone from Team Heretics getting out scot-free. And now it's even a play that Vitality knew was happening. They had the vision on Jankos. They still went for it. And Ebby and Jankos, they just come out on top here.
Bro, that Counter-Strike value seemed immense. Both of them jumping forward and Bo just unable to find the final hits.
Hell yeah, dude. They just come forward with it. Ebby dodging out auto attacks. Bo dashing backwards to try and, well, at least not get stunned up by Ebby with that Counter-Strike. But in the moment that he dashes backwards, well, Ebby just walks forward. And then again, the permafrost there from Jankos, crucial in saving his top laner's life.
Battle Pig to the rescue. Team Heretics get the first kills onto Ebby's Jax. I also think that is very important because the player he's standing up against, I think there's a defendable case for saying he's the best top laner in the LEC. 60% kill participation for a top laner. Teamfight KD, 3.7, the highest for his lane. His goal difference at 14, the highest for his role. I think obviously the champion of Malphite is going to hurt some of those stats just a little bit, at least in the laning phase, but it will not be impacting the team fights. Bo is getting pulled backwards there. Dredge line was good. Here comes Ruby as well. Bottom lane's not there. Jack Spectre had recalled. Does not have level 5, so no one goes down in the river engage. But it does, again, look like both teams using those roaming supports or roaming champions to try find opportunities.
Yeah, just to talk about the top lane real quick. You said that might not happen on the Malphite. Even when getting killed, he's still 10 CS ahead. He's still ahead in XP with 1 level. So you say Malphite, I say Photon Div still happening up there towards the top lane.
Truly appreciate you saving my ass on that one. I actually didn't even look at the scoreboard. 13 CS advantage. I didn't see how many of those creeps died during the 2v2 because there was a fairly significant wave being pushed forward. And we also did see Ebby trying to push very aggressively. Dragon goes very low. Smite fight, it's smited! What?
Jankers didn't have the smite yet. It was still on cooldown. So Bo just walking in there, and for Team Heretics, they just straight up did not expect Bo to be around after they got control of the Drake area.
GB.
What's up?
If you're a Heretics fan, they just went, oh no, Bo! He managed to hop into the fence.
I'm not gonna laugh at that. What even is that shit?
You just did. But I do think crucial. That's crucial. Infernal Drake picked up. The next one is Ocean. And it's still small advantages here for members of Vitality. The gold difference from the kill, frankly irrelevant. I think a little bit frustrating there. Team Heretics could have had that Dragon gift wrapped. Unfortunately, no smite available to them. So one of the easiest steals of Bo's life.
Yeah, quite frankly, must have been. Now, next objective that could be stolen as well would be that Rift Herald. So far, no big rotations are happening with it. You can see down towards the bot side, Jack, Spectre, and Mercer still pushing in a big minion wave. They have the vision control should the mid laner of Ruby move down there. He's not currently spotted on vision, and Vitality's bot lane have to respect that. Now he finally gets back to lane, and Opsa can feel a bit safer up here.
Now, Vitality currently in a still small deficit. The mid lane, currently plus 10 CS there for Ruby. Minor advantage. Ruby in the top lane's got the kill to his name as well. 400 gold up. And slowly accruing small advantages, nearly 1,000 gold. Look at this. Jankos and Bo once again, just in the same area at the same time. Glacial Prison is available, as is that Cyclone. They're holding on to it because Ruby was the first to leave. He pushed the mid wave in, immediately stepped into the river, and this is going to allow Team Heretics to start off the Herald. I don't think it looks to be contested for now.
Oh, might find something different.
Being set up. Mercer forced a flash that abduct abscond. Could have connected, then could have hijacked away the ult, and now Herald fight is on the cards.
Yeah, it might be, might not. Let's see what they're looking at here. Bo might look for a steal, but I just don't think you straight up win the fight right now. Sejani's just too good with a CC. Bo on the Wukong still needs Divine Sundra before he really starts being a factor that can actually brawl with them here. So we're going to still wait a bit to see Vitality get too aggressive, as I say that.
Yeah, I mean, Perk's just going for the aggressive trade there. Got the abilities, had managed to hijack away the Mimic, and for now, both of these mid lane is just looking and poking and prodding, but nothing serious to come from it. Do you get nervous when you look at the state of the game right now? Vitality, when you look at their games over the last few weeks, they won the first 4, they lost the last 2, so streaky team, they're on a 3-game loss streak. And if I were to look into this, I'd be like, you know what? They could lose this today. They're still the heavy favorites.
They are.
But they do need to pick up that win.
I think you look at the first game versus G2, you go like, okay, it was a G2. You look at it against Astralis, you're like, okay, maybe that's a bit questionable. BDS with the way they're playing, okay, fair enough. Against Team Heretics, you are absolutely expected to win. Like, you need to be the one coming out ahead here. But now, Team Heretics, being the team with the Rift Herald, can start priming that bot lane for a potential play. But you can see Vitality, they're already ready for it. They're guarding their entrance into their own jungle.
And Mercer needs to use that ulti just to stay alive. Upset continues the chase with a flash. I mean, that was just running him down.
And this is such a good play, because initially the game plan for Mercer is that I need to get in towards the bot side here, get a lot of vision on the enemy jungle, so we can just come in and make a and play with the Rift Herald. That never happens because Upset and the rest of Vitality was already ready for the play, so they just completely read Team Heretics there.
And of course, in terms of that play, we saw Jack Spectre pushing forward. Upset steps in, fires the Ultra Shock laser. That's enough to get the ghost out of Jack Spectre. And the Golden Hornets are very happy with the first kill here for Vitality. If you are watching at home and you're a fan of SK Gaming or Koi, and you want the Golden Hornets cheering on Vitality, because a Vitality win will lock in SK and Koi into the group stage as well. And Vitality are already there. For now, they close that goal difference. First Mythic picked up. Jack Spectre's got the Kraken Slayer to his name. And we're pretty much even across the board. So,
Perks.
2v2 play now being set up. Flash available for Perks if he wants it. He's hijacked the prison, still has the ability to turn this around. Here comes Mercer as well. That's so much healing already. The prison onto Mercer. Perks escapes. Kaiser's there in the nick of time, but more importantly, Perks used everything. The ult, the flash, flawlessly.
Hold up. Oh, never mind, baited. It's been a while since I've been on the desk.
Yeah, the observers mess with you. They literally set you up to think something's going to happen, and then they manage to supplant. But look at the minimap, GB. because Heretics
I'm
have
looking at it.
some members of Vitality making their way down with 30 seconds for the next Dragon. Don't know whether they're going to go very aggressive or not, but for the time being, that was just a great outplay from Perks.
Yeah, so TP from Ruby here. They want to use the Rift Herald. They want to get some plating while the plates are still up and available. So Ruby, he's going to stay out of vision. They're going to place a pink board down and maybe invite Vitality to get engaging on them.
No teleports for either top laner. The Herald can drop, the Cyclone comes out. Jack Spectra's forced to flash, but Vitality's mobility is too much to deal with. The spin to win and the crushing blows give Bo the double. Oh no, it's Bo! Mercer's going to use that treasure line of safety, and he's finally taken out at least one back for Team Heretics, but a great engage. They stop the Herald and they get the kills.
Yeah, and that's the Divine Sunderer we're talking about. As soon as you finish it on Wukong, you're just a different beast. 3 versus 4. Team Heretics was even looking for the play. They wanted them to engage, and yet they still lost the play. Perks on the tower now.
He's got the turret aggro as well. Ruby's going to continue the chase forward. Perks to 300, 400 HP. He's managed to hijack away the Mimic. Ruby lets a solo kill onto Perks.
Great from Ruby there, finding the timing on the tower to actually make Perks take tower damage while being rooted up. And the dash is not enough to get out of the range.
That's actually huge. I mean, Ruby's LeBlanc at 2-0. Ebby got the first kill, and while Jack Spectra did just get beaten and bullied into upset Zeri, for at least 10 or 12 minutes, he's had a fairly even laning phase. So Jack Spectra may have some time to play with if Ebby, Jankos, and Ruby can create space. Jankos and Mercer making their way down.
Hold up.
Recall's being channeled. Miss Super Mega Death Rocket is fired out. Jankos is holding on to the prison. It fires out. Cleanse from upset instantaneously. But that's not available for the ensuing Dragon fights.
Yeah, but you know what else is not available? The shield bow that Upset wanted to go back and get, so they have a mythic disadvantage there. Jankos might have used the ultimate. There's no way Vitality should be able to actually contest this straight now. They could look for a steal again with bow, but as you look at their forces on the minimap, they might actually look for a fight.
4 versus 4. Cyclone is available in a few seconds for Bo. No flash available to him. Upset stepping forward. He's got the ulti too. Dredge line connects. Dragon is now being ignored. Bo's inside the pit. Upset has got the damage to deal with despite not having the shield bow. Ruby goes all the way forward. And now all of a sudden Dragon is forced from Heretics.
I'm honestly baffled. Look at the minimap. Ebby made his way down there. He wanted to be part of the fight, Drake. Look at the inventory. Mythic advantage in mid lane. Mythic advantage in AD. But they're just not sending it. They're walking back. They're trying to kite back. All the meanwhile, Bo is just taking another Drake. 2 Drakes that was started up by Vitality, or started up by Team Heretics, taken by Vitality.
It feels a little bit like Fear to me. When you saw that engage being set up.
It does a little bit, doesn't it?
It really did not feel like Heretics were either on the same page or also, unfortunately for them, there was threats on both sides. And yes, while one of them was just the Zeri Lulu, you count on the fact if you turn and focus on them, all of a sudden the Cyclone engage can tear you apart. And that's kind of what happened in that little Dragon skirmish. So Vitality, 2 Dragons, a very minor gold lead. We're 15 minutes into the game. Vitality are setting themselves up to have a pretty even footing in team fights in the mid game. And I think their team composition is a lot more straightforward when it comes to those team fights and how to play them.
You also love the RNG you hit on the Drakes here. The fact that you have mountains, and then if you can stack those up with Photon Ori on the Malphite, he's going to be more unkillable than you can imagine. It's not going to be killable here now either, but that's unstoppable force out of the way now. That's the vision control off the topside river in Team Heretics' favor, and it could potentially look for Herald as well. They have their members up here, Ebby in the top side, and Jack Spectra coming in from mid.
GB, look at the minimap. All 5 members of Vitality are around. The first one to pull the trigger was Ruby. There goes Bo. Gets caught up by the dredge line. Cyclone is ticking. Mercer forced to flash for his life, and Jack Spectra gets away from Upset, who hopped over the wall. So both teams do not want to give up the second Herald. They're willing to fight for it. Teleport's not available for the respective top laners or Ruby. And Perks is moving. Does he want to push that bottom wave to look for the TP? They may just concede this objective, so Heretics may get this one uncontested.
Yeah, but they can try and leverage the fact that no one's down in this bot side, so could be a turret for Perks here. Now, as you said, ultimate's down, no hijack, no cyclone, no unstoppable force either. Mercer just got his ultimate up as well, so there's no way that they're ever really going to be able to contest this on Vitality. On the contrary, they might look for a dive on a Malphite.
They're going to look for it. Ethereal Chains connect. They're going to at least root Photon. Super Mega Deathrock, not enough damage. Into the plated steel caps, the Sunfire Cape. He's got a ton of armor. They will, however, get the teleport out of Perks, save that bottom turret. So it is a minor win at the very least. And now all of a sudden, Perks fancied a shot at Ruby.
Yeah, they're just going to shift it here, so they're going to TP Photon down in the bot lane instead. You have the support of Bo as well on the Wukong if you would like, so you can see he's actually camping around the area, just taking some of the camps while he knew that Jankos was up on that top side instead. Opposite is in the mid lane, so if he needs to shift the pressure from mid into bot, they can look for it. So first turret should just go over to Vitality.
So yeah, give them that bonus for now, extend that gold lead ever so slightly. So around 1,500. A little tidbit. Do you know what Frankie told me yesterday?
No,
that I genuinely didn't know?
Yeah.
Do you know Malphite gets bigger when he gets more armor?
You know why you're telling me this? Because I had to fact check you out, and you told her, no, Frankie, you're wrong, that doesn't happen. And I went, Trevor, back in Season 9?
Season 9.
It was changed. So you start the game smaller, and then you grow more exponentially with armor until you hit 850.
850 was the cap. So Photon's Malphite might not be so tiny, as some might say. Gonna grow with that armor. I genuinely, it's a really lame reference for Dota players out there. But yeah, it's just one of those like little tidbits that you don't see Malphite a whole lot, and all of a sudden in a couple of weeks of the LEC group stage regular season meta rather, he starts to jump into proliferation. I mean, this is Photon's first ever game on the champion. He's still dead even with Ebby's Jax. And I think if he can find those unstoppable forces in team fights, he'll have a lot of tools. And Ruby's gonna be able to use that distortion very well, lands the chains. All of a sudden, backup is now coming. Kaiser's waiting in the wings, as is Bo. Flash is up for Ruby. And look at the observers, they're trying to follow them.
Up towards top side, you can see that's where Vitality is, down towards the bot side. That's where Team Heretics are now setting up camp as well.
Okay, Ruby's been able to escape in the top lane. Photon's got Flash, he's got the unstoppable force. He's going to use the ultimate, gets pulled backwards with the hook. The tower is now being sieged by Vitality in the top lane, and Photon now will be forced to flash. Chased forward by multiple members of Team Heretics. Look at how hard it is to kill him already before any Mountain Drakes go down, and the Rift Tail will get another charge. While that's going on, Gulborg, Vitality sieging this middle lane. 3 members available to them. Here comes Ruby. He needs to find upset. The shield will come out from Kaiser, and up to hops over the wall, uses distortion backwards, and that tower will be secured. Overall, Vitality may get the better of this because I think they're going to take that second tower top.
Yeah, but look at the gold difference between Photon now and Ebby. Just 1.3. Now TP coming up. This is not envisioned for Perks. We could have another fight. 1 versus 1.
Level 12 versus level 12. 2 items secured. Black Cleaver's available. Grandmaster's Might was just popped off. Perks running for his life.
Oh, that's it.
There is a potential fight in the river. The dragon has just spawned, and now the game is descending into a much higher pace and a lot more chaotic. Perks, no TP. Photon, no TP or ultimate, and the dragon's been started.
Yeah, crucially, no deep vision from Team Heretics either. Bo just dropped the ping into Drake Ward, so he does have the vision of this happening as well. It's going to come down to a steal as well, potentially.
What is the timing on that ultimate? I think it's going to be a little while. Still around 30 seconds before Photon's is up. The last 2 dragons have been gift-wrapped and donated to Vitality. The engage comes out. Bo's running for his life. Dragon is still being tagged, and yet goes forced to flash. He stays alive, but just for how long? The Ultra Shock Laser picks it up, and Vitality seem to have won the fight. Dragon is still being tagged and focused. It resets, loses patience. Perks is killed by Ebby, who's now on a killing spree, and the Dragon's secured by Vitality. The third of the game. Upset hops over the wall. Ebby follows. He empowers himself to pick up the kill, and Photon just about gets the ulti out. The fight goes to Heretics, the dragon goes Vitality.
Yeah, how much are they feeling themselves here? Because the Baron is up, but no, they are not at all. They're going to go for the resets instead. Midwave not in their favor either. Bo still alive with Jankos dead, not a potential. But once again, these Drakes for Team Heretics, that's just not what you're looking for. In the beginning, it's looking great because you can see Ebby is on the flank right now, but he's spending time hitting a ping board instead of getting ready with the counter-strike initially. Still splits up the fight, so Kaiser can't be out of it. He's forced to flash. Jankos gets hit by the laser, and this is where it gets even messier because some of Vitality wants to turn on Drake, some of Vitality still want to fight. You can see it with Perks and Photon up here, and this is where Team Heretics gets back into it. They lose to Drake, but they start picking up the kills. Upset fails to flash, and that's why he dies afterwards.
The problem for me is, despite the fact the fight goes the way of Team Heretics, they are still behind in every lane but top. And Ebby, yes, you are 5-0 on a Jax. I have not seen from Team Heretics in 2023 a clean and controlled way of playing a 4-1 to allow Jax to put pressure on the side lane. And that's what you want to do with a Jax that is 5-0. So Heretics, surprise me. Show me that you can do it, because that's where your advantage is.
Yeah, I don't blame you for having that sentiment. It is very justified. For now, though, it's something that not only requires the skill of a top laner, it also requires the skill of a team to set up a top lane win condition, having the proper vision laid out so you know when can I split push, when do I need to get back, because the entire core concept of that is if 2 members or more coming up towards the top laner, the rest of the team gets leads because they can take over the map, and if not, well, then you can just continue pushing, and that's the balance you need to juggle back and forth.
Now the thing is, in terms of balancing that, talk to me about team fights as well. I've already mentioned, for Vitality, it's pretty simple. Wukong, Malphite, go in, followed by Sylas and Zeri. How on earth does Team Heretics fight these team comps? Because we've seen multiple Dragon engages that it feels to me like they're either not on the same page or they're a little nervous or like, you know, they get surprised maybe.
Yeah, I think it's a bit of all of those that you just initially laid out there, because it's not like these champion can't team fight either. It's just a bit more complex where as soon as Ebby finishes up the Sonya's Hourglass, he can fully throw himself in there as well, having the extra AP damage, super nice against the Malphite. And then you do have Yankers, you do have the CC from Ruby where you can pop in and out, play a poking style of LeBlanc, and then of course fully sending it with Mercer, with Jack Spectra being your reliable carry in the back.
I mean, that's so integral. Team Heretics, they're going to start off Baron. Okay, Perkz has got teleport available to him. If the plays to get the TP, I like this. If they stick around and commit to the fight, this kid's nervous. That's at least half set. They've jumped onto Photon. Is getting a lot of damage down. He didn't get to flash. He didn't get to ulti.
That's big.
Joins in the fight. That's 2 kills already. Bo and Photon are down. Upsets the next target. He's going to cleanse away from that Counter-Strike. No flash available to him. But look at Perkz on the back end. He's got himself one. Ruby's going low. The Mimic is going to be the target as Ebby's trying to hold off Upset. They take down Perkz. The rest of the team Upset move away. Upset gets over the wall. Gets another. Turns attention onto Mercer, who's going to use that dredge line to safety. And Upset and Kaiser dodge, dip, duck, and dive their way to keeping Vitality alive. It's not over yet. Jack Spectra fires out the zap. Upset's waiting for the cooldowns. Hops over the wall thanks to that spark. And now he's looking for Mercer, trying to get in range for that right click. Bursting his fire all the way forward. And Vitality turn it around.
Yeah, that's just nostalgia right there. It's flashback to his Fnatic days when Hylissang and Upset used to do this with the Sari and Lulu. This time around, though, on Vitality with the German bot lane of Kaiser and Upset, of course, their brilliant Sari moment coming out there. I think we can call it a certified one. But Perkz setting it up afterwards.
I mean, really well played.
Actually.
Holding on to the back. I didn't see what he hijacked, in fact. But
Nautilus ultimate.
Fantastic. That was where the knockup came from. Well spotted, GB. And I think if we do get that replay on your screen, Perkz bought enough time for Upset to deal with Ebby and then clean it up.
At first, this was super impressive from Team Heretics. They just layer down the CC. No time for Photon to do anything. Bo jumps in there out of full necessity. And this is where it should be one instant hook on Perkz, but Upsets create problems. He suddenly starts being the target of attention. And with the stolen Nautilus ultimate, the AoE coming out from Perkz is setting up the AD carry of Vitality.
That's such a fantastic performance. And throughout the course of that fight, the Golden Hornets were starting to get a little quiet, starting to get a little nervous.
Oh no.
This time around, Photon finds the engage onto Jack Spectra. He's still got that flash available to him, throws it over the wall. Teleport's now coming in, and Vitality, they may have bitten off more than they can chew. Bo gets taken out, and Team Heretics with 8 seconds on the Dragon.
Yeah, that's
they
the
might
crucial one.
at least stop the soul.
That's the thing. Now suddenly Team Heretics can get in there. Stopping this power spike coming through from Vitality is crucial. And yeah, you can already see it. Actually going to turn their head up towards the top side, but surely they can't start off the Baron.
Well, this game is way closer than I was anticipating. Vitality already in the group stage. Team Heretics, they want to pick up win to increase their chances for that tiebreaker. And at 25, we're about dead even on gold. So obviously a significant Dragon advantage here for Vitality. And I will just say, Upset and Kaiser are the guys I have to keep my eyes on. Because as these fights are drawn out longer, they're the two that have had the largest impact. I mean, you could call Kaiser Bill Timothy, if you would. See whether or not he can get himself to Peter Smith in a moment or two. This Team Heretics will take their 3rd tower of the game, peel backwards, and now the focus is going to be on Baron. See who sets it up and who tries to rush it down.
Yeah, I'm sure there's someone out there getting those references.
There'll be a
Lord
few.
knows, it ain't me. And Team Heretics now, I think the later the game goes as well, with Jack Spectra finally picking up more items, it's going to be more easy for them to play. When he gets the Infinity Edge, when he gets that Lord Dominic's Regan, finally going to start cutting through some of the front line that is Vitality. They're already doing a decent job at it now, but it's going to get better for them.
The thing that I do get a little nervous about is whenever Jack Spectra has no flash available to him, Photon, Bo, and Perkz have so many tools in their kit to get to him, to put threats.
Any wards?
And Ruby wants to be on the sidelines looking at a poke, so Vision is fully there. Observers have toggled it. Perkz waiting in the wings, level 14. He has flash. Cleanse is 3 seconds away for Upset. Baron's down to 7,000. Ebby's going to be late to this party. Abby, 7-1-2. Hourglass is completed. And I appreciate Vitality's patience in this one. They started, forced it, realized they didn't want the fight, and then they did back away.
Kaiser said in a recent interview, Bo was very confident in his smiting ability. So it's a bit worried there that he was too confident and was just going to flip it up there. They do back it off. And just back to a pretty much even map state. You can see Team Heretics, they're the one getting some control around the Baron, but not full vision, as Vitality still has that ward. And yeah, that's my heartbeat this game. There you have it.
That's definitely the case. Plus 1,500 gold, the largest that Vitality have had. Plus around 1,200, the largest Team Heretics have had. And the fourth tower here is under threat. Ruby waiting in the wings. He's shadowing for Ebby. Right, we got 3 items completed for both of the carries in the bottom lane. 2.5 for respective mid laners. And let's not forget the fact Perks is up around 40-odd CS. He's got a little more ability power to work with. The ring sitting in Ruby's back pocket. But for the next fight with Baron open, look at this. Team Heretics, they're on the hunt. Photon's gonna get tagged up. Takes a lot of damage. Remember, he's been stacking almost exclusively armor. So a single, what was that, EQ combo there from Ruby did a lot more than I was expecting.
Oh yeah, also the Leandrius. Ebby now actually just starting up the Baron right now. TP coming in from Perks here. There's no control in terms of vision for Vitality, but they're just baiting out the TP. They're actually...
That's a win. That's
playing
huge.
with their opponents here. You're right, that's huge. That's not just a random flip.
And that was quick. That was decisive. Unlike the first couple of Dragons, where Team Heretics kind of dicked around in the river, this time, they get the teleport, they immediately run away, and now they are the ones setting up a potential hunt.
Oh, could be careful here because Mercer is in the back of the bush up towards the Crocs here as well. Jankers could have potentially looked for something there, but Bo can always just get out of there with his Shadow Clone Jutsu.
Well, I like that.
You're so lame.
Kagabunchi no Jutsu, I think it was, if I remember correctly. Well, nicely done on that one.
Thank you.
I will say, we're setting ourselves up for a classic European Baron dance. And the only reason I throw that out is we get a couple of non-League of Legends folks here in the audience. What that will mean is this single objective. Both teams have been dancing and contesting the vision. It's too risky to go for those inner turrets. Hence the reason that we've kind of had this like checkers game back and forth. But in a minute and a half, the soul is up. And that is a concern for Heretics because they cannot concede really either objective.
But it's also so hard. Like, we have this stalemate between them. So I'm just going to put up the minimap right now and start drawing a bit. No one ever crosses the mid lane. And a lot of it goes into the fact that no one is actually able to get aggressive vision down. Team Heretics has the defensive vision. Vitality, well, there's no vision. You have it at one here. And because of that, no one can step further. No one can try and go for a split push. No one can be the aggressor. You just keep waiting for your opponent to make a move, and then they're playing reactionary to that.
Well, who's going to make the first big move that gets punished? Baron started once again, this time down to 9,000. Ruby waiting in the wings. Level 15, though, to Perks' 16. The hijack has landed onto that Nautilus ultimate. Ultra Shock Laser goes up. Baron has reset in Team Heretics. I think they're okay for now. They've split themselves up. Ruby on the eastern side as Perks is chasing him down. He's looking for the CC. Hit him with the chains, and Perks backs out. And it's 30 seconds to Dragon. We have to keep our eyes on that.
That's why this is huge. You can drop a single ward on Baron, no longer a pink ward. You push them out of the area and can move yourself down towards the bot side afterwards. Just set up some defensive vision control or offensive vision control around that Drake to put the odds in your favor.
Vitality stepping forward. Photon's nearing level 16. Get that third and final tick on the unstoppable force. He's down 3,000 gold. Teleport's being channeled into the middle lane. 10 seconds until Mountain Soul. And this may be split. If Vitality commit for Dragon, do they have enough time to get up for Baron in a 5 versus 5? Fantastic work from the observers who's going for the split focus on the objectives.
They're just going to be able to take this quickly. They're going to say, you know what, you get the Baron, we get the Soul, we're fine with it, and they're going to take that trade. Curious to see that no one from Vitality was actually up there to try and play a bit of spoiler. You didn't need all 5 members at the Drake, but they're going to fully trade the objectives.
Baron is timed, Soul is forever. Do you think this is a good trade for Heretics? Because my gut instinct is leaning towards no.
It's going to be interesting for sure. I think this makes it easier for Team Heretics to finally play their split pushing style and trying to take control of the map. From the side of Vitality, they are going to be forfeited to sit around in their base for a while and deal with the siege the Team Heretics will come out with.
Follow Photon, the Rock. Unstoppable Force and Flash is available to him. If Team Heretics stay grouped up, he can pull the trigger. Perks has arrived, level 17 as well. 2 above Ruby. Stepping forward, looking for the engage. Ruby distorts forwards, and I definitely held my breath for a moment. So the tower's secured, top and bottom lane, 5-3. It's a 3,000-ish gold lead for Team Heretics. but they do have a more difficult team fight to execute, and they do need to ensure Jack Spectre and Ruby have a significant impact. Oh, as does Ebby, of course, as well, because he's got most of the gold leads.
Yeah. No, they got what they came for here. They got the tier 2. They can look at the mid lane now in a bit as well. Jack Spectre on the way to finishing up that LDR. Only got the last whisper as of right now. Right now, we're looking at Evie, and I'm not saying that a lot usually when we look at Team Heretics, but when he's playing this Jax today, 7-1-2, got the Sonya's Hourglass finished up, finally gearing up for a split push on the bot side as well. We want to see Team Heretics push in that mid lane, get control of the bot side river as well, get control of the enemy jungle, and start bouncing your enemy back and forth, puppeteering them, so you can slowly but surely take turrets.
1.5 minutes to go before the Baron will wear out. Mercer's been caught. He dredge lines away by some time. But that cannot happen. They were trying to set up the vision. They were trying to puppeteer. And unfortunately, the strings were cut.
Yeah, you didn't wait for the current pressure to come through from the side of Ebby. No one was responding to the play. No one was around that mid lane until you saw it. Now Perks, though, not seeing this one either.
Teleport's available for Photon. It's instantly coming down. Flame Chompers are thrown. The rest of Vitality are around, but Perks stays alive for a significant amount of time. He's already taken out the bow. Now landing the Cyclone. Jack Spectre flashes for his life. Buys some time thanks to that stopwatch. And Upset is jumped on. Your Sober Force comes out. Ebby's the next target. Bow has shut down Jack Spectre, and Vitality may have just won the fight. Ebby's turned into a munchkin. Here comes Ruby. Tick, tick, boom! Upset is unstoppable. And Ebby's running for his life. Vitality have won that fight.
Just when it started to look good for Team Heretics, they start becoming sloppy with it. One mistake leads to multiple, and Vitality now chasing down Ebby. How far can he go? What's happening on the rest of the map? It's just Bo trying to see if he can get some turrets. Ebby, don't think there's much you can do in this situation. Should eventually be run down, shut down.
They get the flash from Upset. And I will say this, after Kaiser blew past Phil Timothy and Peter Smith, now he's setting his sights on Brianny Thorne. 0-0-12 on that scoreline. This is James Bond's references, by the way.
I watched those movies.
Has now taken their 4th tower of the game. Mercer and Jankos, they're waiting for backup, but they need to wait a hell of a long time. 30 seconds for Ebby, 8 for Ruby. Jack Spectre just spawned. But we are still just one big team fight away, frankly, from either team winning this game. It feels to me like Vitality have a small step in the lead. I think the Mountain Soul is going to be significant in how those fights play out, though.
Now, pushing in on those tier 2s. No big vision control in favor of Vitality, but they have the inventory to just step up here. They have the strength of Photon. 2 Mountains. Drake's acquired. Soul on top of that as well. He could have just kept the recall there. The shield he had would have meant that he wouldn't actually have gotten stopped. Now, Team Heretics, they look for a play immediately here. Perks with a crucial stopwatch. As soon as the TP comes down, the play shall just be kill, 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 kill. Let's make it a 4 versus 4. The problem here becomes Team Heretics becomes so split. Bo is doing an absolute excellent job at keeping Jack Spectre at bay. And when they finally start getting Jack out of the Sonya's Hourglass, they're actually looking at a team fight a little more towards the top. And no one's actually peeling Jack either. Not that it probably could have happened anyway.
No, I don't think it would have made a significant difference. And I think when you see this game play out, where we are at 35 minutes, for a team like Vitality who's been on that 3-game swing, they've lost to BDS, Astralis, and G2. And frankly, all 3 of those teams deserve to be top of the table teams. Vitality have to work real freaking hard against Team Heretics, who are tied for last at 2-5. So when you do look forward to those BO3s and the group stage, Vitality will be there, but this doesn't build a lot of confidence. They will be able to blow up Ruby. Golden Hornets are happy with that one as another kill comes in here for Jankos. It's a minute 20 for both of those big objectives. Team Heretics are starting to lose a bit of focus. They didn't have the greatest vision. They're being collapsed on. That's multiple frags in a row where they have just been out of position.
Yeah, but crucially, Photon still has that unstoppable force available. Hijack almost available for Perks as well. I don't know if it's on cooldown on Nautilus specifically, but they can for sure look for more here.
30 seconds for Jankos, 30 seconds for Ruby. Inhibitor secured. How emboldened are they feeling? Jack Spectre is trying to clear out the wave. The Mega Death Rocket was good, but now he's under the tower. No flash, no ghost. Upset's going to jump forward, crash down with some lightning. Run, Jack Spectre, run! That ghost will time out very, very soon. Will he get a teleport? Oh, Perks has already TP'd in.
He's done.
Perks wants to send a message here. Blastcone is popped.
Oh.
The arcane power buff not going to be enough. Jack Spectre's just taking us on a... Cue the Benny Hill music. And Bo picks up the kill with 20 seconds to Baron, 20 to Elder. In actual fact, with the death timer at 50 seconds and those, I think it was the wrong call to bring them on that long of a goose chase.
Yeah, but the thing is as well, Jack Spectre, at least he stopped the end from happening, but the problem is you're probably going to be facing the inevitable anyway now. Baron being started up in just a bit. You're looking at Jankers. Can he get in here just to steal this objective away? Our team Heretics looking at a potential Elder Drake right now. Doesn't really look like it matters.
Oh, Baron has at least been slowed down for now. 25 seconds for Jack. It'll be gone. By the time he spawns, it will be gone. Take a look at the standings as this objective is being secured. If you are a fan of SK Gaming and Koi, if Vitality used this Baron, if Vitality closed this game out, those two teams will advance to the group stage. Photon has TP'd in behind enemy lines. Baron has been secured. Yankos got turned into a munchkin thanks to that Lulu. And the target will be Ruby. He's taken out by Photon. All of a sudden, Upset gets another. He's legendary, killing Mercer. And with Baron empowered minions, Supers in the middle lane, this has to be it. That's a TP into the base. Evie, I don't think you win this race, but he's going to try.
Yeah, I mean, there's already Baron up minions here, so there's someone to stop him. He's going to get the turret and back off immediately. Baron's still active. Jack Spectre on the turret. We've seen him in this position before.
And he does get taken out. Abby and Mercer, the last two players standing in front of the entirety of Vitality. They take down the Nexus turret number 1, turn their attention to the second as Photon is chasing down Abby. The Nexus will be focused, and Vitality once again look to pick up that win. Vitality will lock in SK and Koi and put themselves one step closer to a higher seed for groups. It is not a confidence-inspiring win if you are a Golden Hornet or a fan of Vitality.
No, most certainly not. Really dropped the ball here for Team Heretics as well. One of the better games we've actually seen from them. Unfortunate